Well, hey there, team. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more Stationeers. So I was thinking, I was using my, I know it's dangerous. I shouldn't do it, but I did. I thought. So I was thinking about cooling. So, because we're going to Vulcan. That's the plan for those that aren't aware. We're sort of, the overarching plan is to build a rocket and go to Vulcan because we can use infinitely recyclable gases to survive. Apart from the fact that Vulcan's a fucking nightmare, it does produce gases ad infinitum that we will need. But cooling's going to be a problem. I was already thinking about, we want to cool these down. In fact, that's part of why we're filtering this whole system out, because we want to keep the H2 cool. And I'm sort of trying to imitate the moon, right, by having atmospheric cooling. And that was cool. There was a good conversation we had in the comment section about the density of the pressure versus the heat transfer as well. There's probably something to be said for increasing surface area by putting it across multiple tanks. I'm sure that would help as well. But at the end of it all, I'm missing something because the moon is vacuum. And that's been one of the throughput things in this game. Throughput? No, that's not the right term. One of the threads that they've had all the way through is that you can sort of vacuum cool things in this game, right? You suck everything out of the air and the heat just dissipates, essentially. That's sort of one of the core things. And I realize that that's not what we're sort of imitating here. We're using low pressure circulation, which is close, but it's not the same thing. It's definitely not the same game mechanic. But as far as going to Vulcan, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, where am I going to get coolant from and how am I going to cool coolant, right? People are like, oh, you just use wall heater and all that. No, you're not thinking far enough ahead. You're just going to superheat your coolant and that's going to fucking explode from pressure or something, probably in the pipe you put it in. So we're going to have to make like a cooling room, I believe, which is essentially just going to be a vacuum room. So this might be just the thing to test it on, is our volatile stuff. Because, well, obviously we want to cool it. And for the moment, this is sort of just a small closed system. Now, however, was that not 20 degrees when we came in? It has cooled quite successfully while we've been out here. But having an actual dedicated cooling room for our, we need to create coolant, I suppose is the best way to look at it. But is that what we're going to be doing today? I'm not 100% sure. All right, so this system's fairly closed, right? This whole system exists purely to make sure that we don't blow ourselves up while we do all our smelting. What we will do is just bite the bullet and we will filter out the last of everything. So this will act as a back pressure pump as well. So this is a good way to purge the system. If you recall, I was a bit cross that I didn't have a way to do that. And you can see now it's just going to draw down the last of the pressure until, yeah. So I like to purge the furnace if I can help it. Come on. Just getting that last little bit out, Yeah, that's all doing fine. Someone pointed out that I'll need to filter the O2 out. Oh, quite right, I agree. But remember, this is essentially just a recouping the waste of our smelting setup. This isn't necessarily an oxygen farm or atmospheric farming system, which we will get to. I'd be curious what sort of toll that's taken on the filters. Oh, they're still at 100%. Geez, that's pretty good. So we could hypothetically leave that run forever. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So back to smelting, because we also want to get to the electronics upgrade Mark II, right? We still have our reagents in there. Now, I did say reagents. I understand you can recoup the reagents, but it's a pain in the ass. My point before was I don't want to have that happen. All right. Let's close this off. Let's look left, look right, across the road. Now, I know people say 2 to 1, but I'm strongly starting to back my argument of the other way around, of like 1 to 2, right? I want oxygen waste and I want pure burn through on volatile if I can help it, right? Split one. Oh shit, what am I doing? I've got the wrong one selected. Why can't you put that in your other hand? Alright, so we'll try and re-smelt this at a 1 to 2, and we'll see what comes of it. That's sealed, it's purged. Crunch. Might have to press it twice, right? Because it's 2 ore. Well, that's right, it gets hot, doesn't it? Oh, I like the effects. Pressure, temperature.
Waste tank, caution.
What's going on there? Oh, I think I'm pumping through my oxygen too fast to deal with. This is interesting, isn't it? How this is. What's going on? It's getting really fucking hot, isn't it? Why aren't you going, fan? Because we don't have any power. So we don't have power. I don't really want to go back in this fucking room. It's very warm. My waste tank is shitting itself because it's passing through cool oxygen. Okay, so what were we trying to make in there? Solder, I think it was. I don't think it's going to blow up. I think we'll be alright. Alright, what do we got here? 350 to 550. Can I leave this up on the screen somehow? Yeah. Oh, I'm putting it over the readout. Is that right? Yeah. 350k to 550. Oh, there we go. The fan's trying to start. But what's going wrong here? Pressure, 1 MPa. So the pressure's too low. Alright. Temperature. Oh, temperature's way too high as well. How interesting. What's going to be the best way to deal with that? Have they radically changed the requirements? I wonder. Pressure. Yeah, temperature is too high. But the pressure's also going to drop off here as well. What can we do about that? Well, not much now that the sun's coming up, you know? It's alright, you can calm down. It's not going to blow up. If it was going to blow up, it would have done it already. Alright, we might need to revisit that. You know, 1 to 2. That's not something I checked, but we'll check it. Oh, in fact, look at that. There's no volatile at all. No, H2, 1%. Yeah, so it's flooded with oxygen, but, yeah, trace H2. Which I think is the cleaner, safer burn, to be honest. So, what will we do next time? Well, I guess we'll potentially, maybe we'll go 2 to 2, or maybe 2-3, or something like that. I wouldn't mind. Like I said, I'd love to build a proper system that we can meet out the pressures properly. Maybe that's exactly what we need to do now that they've changed it. Maybe we embrace that. I'll be curious what people have to say. Do we have any coal? Do we have any coal, he says. Let's just sort of push this system along. Now my waste tank's over full. Let's have a look at this. My air tank's getting quite low as well. A lot of that is, like, my waste tank's not actually going to be pure waste. It's just going to be hot air passed through. Because it was probably because of that super hot room trying to cool me down. So something we might want to do is get another canister going. ASAP. Atmospheric printer with iron. Where's the other iron? Did I use up all the iron? Probably. That'll do. I just really wanted to top my battery up. Well, barely topped it up. That's fine. We'll let it run. Iron, let's cook that. Oh, that's cool. Again, the numbers mean nothing to me for smelting. I haven't really paid any attention to any of it. But it feels like... Oops, I got to turn that on. It feels like, yeah, they've changed it. Yeah, I think we'll build a better system, to be honest. We'll build a better system. Like what we did on the moon. Now, we did that out in the open on the moon. But we'll build a an actual fuel feed. We're gonna need to at some point anyway, right? So there's no big deal. Canister. Right. So this is gonna be our new O2 tank because my O2 is at 1200 kPa. It's gonna be a problem shortly. Yeah, so I can't... Okay. Well, we'll unfasten you real quick. And then we'll do this. Yoink. And then we will refasten you. And we will put you in my oxygen hole. And what I might actually do is put my O2 tank as my waste. And that's dealt with our waste problem. This is good. We've got all sorts of problems to deal with now. So now we have a big old tank of gas that I sort of want to recoup. So what's going to be the best thing to do with that? All right, well, let me think. This is all coming around in a circle, isn't it? So I want to make my gas room my perpetually vacuumed gas room. Yeah. Okay, so we might put it over here. This is sort of becoming our gasworks area. So, okay, so let me just unpack, because my brain's going a million miles a minute. We've got a lot of different things to deal with, right? We're capturing all this gas. We need to come up with a way to cool it properly. It's doing all right there, to be perfectly honest. This needs to be processed in some way. Exactly the same as this canister in my hand needs to be processed. We've got a whole bunch of gas in there that I don't really want to waste if I can help it, right? So if we're going to have a processing facility, we're going to need cooling to be a component as well. Like, cooling should come before we start processing all the hot gases, right? Because we're going to have them from waste. We're going to have them from my hot backpack. We're going to have them from the atmosphere, right? So what we want to probably do is come up with that system first. Sorry, I thought I'd just pause and break it down a little bit because I realize I'm jumping around a bit all over the place. But that's only because there's a lot happening all of a sudden that we need to deal with. So let's get some frames going. We'll keep working in iron for the moment. Oof, it's not cheap, is it? We're going to avoid using the furnace just for the moment, right? Because they've changed all the temperatures and all the behavior and that, so we need to re-envision, well, no, not re-envision, re-investigate how we're going to do all this. Okay, so if that's sort of like that was a corridor for a while there and then it wasn't. What did I do, you know? What if we put it... Well, no, I like the idea of doing it up this way. So maybe we just commit to the sort of access corridor and we build it like there, right? So I want 4 more frames. Do we have any more iron? We don't. Let's go get some iron. Yeah. Close that, close that. There we go, that's our mining belt. I'll just put this canister in my backpack for the moment. Oh, here's some... Oh, man. We getting big iron today. We're going to need to shore up our power grid as well. I'm sure some of you have been itchy for that. Because we're going to start implementing some systems where we're going to have like permanently turned on vents. Yeah. All right, so we're going to start making a coolant making room. I don't know how else you would describe it. And essentially, it's going to be a giant vacuum room, right? It's going to be permanently in vacuum, as far as I can see. We will just have an active vent running at all times. I think that's probably the go. We see any more iron while we're out here? Like, let's just do it properly. Maybe? And then beyond that, we can use that coolant. Now, I realize it's a bit of an extra step, but it's an experiment we need to do if we're going to go to Vulcan, right? Like, we need to have our own coolant generator. And it'll be good. We should be able to test it. I believe the insulation of iron frames is like 100%. It just does. I'm not sure about walls. Look at that, the base disappeared so quickly. Oh, what did I do then? We did put coal in there, yep. Alright, so we'll cook some of that up. How did this end up going in the end? But you see my point, even when I flooded a block, this helps reinforce the point for the purists. There are some people that will close their eyes and put their fingers in their ears and they won't hear anything except 2-to-1 volatile oxide or whatever the fuck it is, right? That's all they want to talk about. And I'm like, I challenge you to think deeper. Think about the mechanics and behind it as opposed to just brute force the problem. We just put in 1 to 2 and we still have waste H2. Like, how could that be? Well, because of the mechanics of the game, as we discussed. It seems that it's very particular about the ratios and the amounts, the literage, however you want to put it, that it chooses to burn in, right? So having waste is kind of almost unavoidable. It's insidious. I think it's great from the devs' part. Like, I use the welder fuel example as well. If you run around in your bloody atmosphere base building things and you're like not thinking about it, every time you use that welder, you're pumping a little bit of H2 into that oxygenated environment. I'd be curious how many bases blow up because they've got it fully atmosphered, they've got good levels, they've got nitrogen in there and all that, the oxygen's not too high, they're pretty happy with themselves, and then they go around and start building shit inside their base, and then their base detonates eventually because all the little H2 pockets build up eventually and it creates the lethal mix. And I feel like the devs might have built that in on purpose, that you can never 100% cook all of the H2 out because now it injects a bit of drama. I wonder. Maybe not. It could just be a quirk of the programming, right? But anyway, my point is that we couldn't get the cleanest build. It's still quite warm, isn't it? I'm happy to just leave it in there because we're not using it. We're not in a hurry. It will cool under its, it'll take a while, but it will still cool in there. As opposed to forcing it through that system. Alright. Where are we? Auto lathe. So frame, we're probably going to need... We're going to need a few of these. I'm curious, if anyone knows, either way, do walls insulate? Because I kind of don't think they do. All right, 4 at the very least to get the ball rolling. If we're going to walk along here and then we're going to sort of... See, here's the thing. I feel that... I think until I'm corrected that frames insulate, right? And that's so core to what we're about to build here. So we need a frame wall. So that's actually going to be a wall section, if you know what I mean. So our entrance would actually be here. I wonder. Oh, Jesus. Like, tell me about walls, game. Because there's a lot of different wall kits. Kit, wall, shatter, flashpoint, composite wall, auto ignition. Like, how would I test the insulation? Like, how could I build a miniature wall and then stress it in such a way that we can find out? Oh, that didn't really make a huge difference, did it? Because if we have to build this whole thing out of frames, it's going to be a... That's going to be a fuck around. But it might be just how it has to be, you know? Alright, for the moment, we're going to go with frames, right? So we're going to go along. That's going to be a wall. Yeah, and we're just going to have to assume that we can build doors that insulate as well. Yeah. Which means that we're going to need to put that there. Or at least the airlock will insulate, right? And we'll have to airlock this as well, right? We will have to airlock this. Yeah. Let's build a shitload of frames. Like, we won't use these doors. I'll put actual airlock kits on it, I think. Because surely they insulate. Yeah, I'm not 100... it kills me, because... Well, actually, hang on. The room is going to be in perpetual vacuum, right? It's basically a big suction room. So, even if there was mild heat transfer, again, we're trying to Vulcan-proof this, remember? Fuck, I don't know what to do here. Yeah. Do we build it out of normal walls or do we build it out of frames? Frames is probably the safer thing, right? This is so hard because if someone can think of a system that I can test it, you know, what do I do? Like build a box around the room and superheat that box to see what happens? I just don't really want to rock up on Vulcan with the plan to build a room out of these little walls. Like they're only 100 kPa and I'm not that worried about the pressure. That doesn't faze me at all because it'll be in 0 kPa the whole room anyway. But I mean, if they're just going to if it's going to superheat the room faster than I can actually drain the heat from the room, that would suck. Also, there's another side to it as well. If our power system breaks down or whatever, which is well possible, so the room stops pumping,
Power low.
and it has a little bit of pressure in there and it's not insulating and then it's getting superheated from the outside, that's probably not going to be very good over time. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's for the time being just go with this. Actually, I probably don't need to put the frame diagonally, do I, if I'm going to build I'm going to build like an airlock like that, right? Yeah, I think you're safe when it comes to the diagonals. A lot to think about, team. Angle grinder. Right, that'll be our airlock block, right? how big a room do we need to make it? That's the important $1 million question. At least 2 across, so I'm going to need at least 2 more frames. I need many more frames. It's becoming a project. Oh, I might have it already on me. Yeah. All right. What am I doing? I'm getting confused. That's what's going on. All right. Chewing through that power. Now, this room can be expandable, which is interesting as well. But okay, cool. So we're going to have a tank sitting in here potentially. I mean, for the most part, because as much as like I want to have like a gas exchange sort of room, all we need is coolant. All we need is coolant because then we can pump that through everything and we can use insulated pipes. So what, yeah, the focus of this room is to make coolant in a vacuum, right? So, and pretend that we're on Vulcan. Jeez, I'm really trying to figure this out as we go. So it's not like, well, it's not like we're going to be drawing gas in directly from Vulcan, right? What's probably going to happen is we'll manhandle any of that sort of gas that we, right? So like say we need to draw in gas from Vulcan, we'll probably take it into a tank and carry it somewhere. It's not a system you can leave running all the time because of the fucking heat, right? It's sort of like turn it on as required. Ergo, when we start putting pollutants into this to cool, to add to our cooling system, we're going to bring it in manually, right? So we would just want we could just use a canister drop-off point like this as part of our system. So that's only small, right? And then I suppose we'd want a tank for storage because the more the merrier. And then potentially you could run pipe all over it to, oh, actually, you know what we could do? Oh, now that I think about it, we could put radiators on the pipes. That will, oh yeah, that will super cool it so fast. Okay, right. What I'm starting to think though is if I'm walking in here and I'm standing on this block here, for the moment, that's all we need. We only need one and then we can expand it out later. Cool. That was the main reason I'm thinking about all of this stuff, is how much do we need? Oh my goodness. All right, a lot to think about, team. Fuck. It's interesting because I was like, fuck, we'll just build in iron to get away from it, to just get this done without having to worry about the smelting process just yet. And then I'm like, yeah, but we're going to build radiators, which require steel, so we're going to probably build in steel, you know? So, bugger. We probably could have made all those frames out of steel in the end. I was just trying to sort of streamline the process without smelting if we could help it. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. You know, it's all prototyping. It's all part of the process. Right, so if you're confused, I'm sure you're not alone. Oh fuck, our plants have all probably died as well. Oh no, they'll be going strong. If you're confused, very good. That's fine. But essentially we want to manufacture coolant because we need to. It's going to be important, and we're at a point now where we actually have to deal with our hot gases anyway, so it makes sense to stop and deal with it. Cool. As always, you know, let me know any questions or anything like that. Hit us up. There's plenty of good guys in the sort of comments that can help you out and help you figure it out. And suggestions as well. You know, I'm not the be all and end all. I don't know fucking anything. I'm just figuring it out as I go. But yeah, we'll get there. All right, team. Thanks again for joining me. I might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.